FC Kaiserslautern are one of the Bundesliga's most historic clubs, but not everyone knows their story. One of the Bundesliga's 16 original teams, Kaiserslautern were in the top flight of the league for 33 years, from 1963 to 1996. However, it's what ensued in the 97-98 season that put Kaiserslautern in the history books. Following their immediate promotion the previous season, Kaiserslautern went on to win the Bundesliga the season after they were promoted, largely thanks to the veteran leadership and the rise of promising German talents like Michael Ballack. The club remained a staple of the Bundesliga in the late 90s and early 2000s, as other modern-day icons like Miroslav Klose chose to begin their professional career with the Red Devils. However, since then, financial difficulties have become a more prevalent issue for the club, and relegation has become a common concern. With the help of some of Kaiserslautern's former players, we're going to attempt to bring the club back to the Bundesliga and Champions League while facing off against some of the world's most iconic players from the 90s and 2000s. This is the FIFA 20 Kaiserslautern Career Mode. Let's get started. Yes, guys, the wait is finally over. We're here with episode 1 of the FC Kaiserslautern Career Mode. I've been hyping up this series for some time, and for good reason. I think we have a great concept here, and if you go on to enjoy this first episode, help me out by leaving a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. There's so many different great aspects about this career mode. If you like Road to Glories, you're in luck. We're in the 3rd Bundesliga. If you like history like me and grew up in the 80s or 90s, we're going to feature a lot of different icons in this career mode. More on that later. But ultimately, I just feel personally connected to this career mode, and I hope over the course of the next few episodes, you all get to learn a little bit more about Kaiserslautern. But what better way to do so than to showcase the squad? Let's take a look at our squad overview. We will be using a 3-5-2 formation to start off this career mode. That's also what Kaiserslautern used in the 97-98 season, so I wanted to replicate that as much as possible. And I'm going to highlight 5 different players in this squad to give you a better idea of players that I think will hold a future in this team, and hopefully we'll stick with them for the entirety of this career mode. Of course, we're going to be hanging with Ballack, and if you didn't catch the preview episode, basically what I've done is that I've kept all of his information the same, like height, position, foot, weak foot, skill move, and the work rates, but I've given him the starting stats that Leon Goretzka had in his first edition of FIFA. I think that was like FIFA 13 or FIFA 14. Basically, I didn't want to give him his baby icon stats in the mid 80s. We're in the 3rd division of German football. Obviously, that would not work out too well. It would just be too easy. So we have a nice 66 rating here. And it's the same thing for Klose, except I've given him the starting stats for Timo Werner, another German forward. And honestly, each season we're going to be manually upgrading these stats. So pretty much, I won't be paying too much attention to their in-game growth. I have a plan for their development that I think will synchronize really well with the progress of this career mode save. In terms of other players to highlight, we have 2 different youngsters. The first being our goalkeeper, Grill. He's only 20 years old, and he has a pretty decent rating of 65, potential probably in the upper 70s. And with how effective player training is for goalkeepers, we should be able to get him to a good rating and hopefully have him be our starting goalkeeper for the entirety of this career mode save, unless we find a really good youth academy prospect. Pick is another good player who is also fairly young, and he has the 4-star skill moves and some good pace. Always going to be helpful in career mode, especially against lower rated opponents. So we're going to be training him up, and he should be a staple for us on the right hand side. Finally, Klose's strike partnership of Spalavis is the highest rated player in the squad and still fairly young at 24. So I want to make sure I give him enough playtime, and we'll be using him as long as possible. Obviously, once we reach the Bundesliga or even the 2nd Bundesliga, we might outgrow his rating and need to upgrade from him, but for right now, he's definitely going to be a key player in the squad. In case you're interested, here's a look at the substitutes and reserves. I'll be rotating a lot of these different players because honestly, for a 3rd division side, Kaiserslautern have a lot of depth and a lot of players around the same ratings. So over the course of the season, I'm probably going to rotate our starting 11 for players that I favor or players that I feel perform better in game. Earlier on, I mentioned icons in this career mode, and while we've already been introduced to Ballack and Klose, I haven't really discussed the other icons that are present in this save. For every single icon that was actively playing during the 97-98 season, I have included them in this career mode save and tried to match their overall rating as closely as possible for that time period. For example, Ronaldo was more or less in his prime during the 97-98 season, so we have given him his prime icon status, with his prime moments being his potential. And I've also tried to match their kit number as well as any boots if they're really known for that. For example, Ronaldo was really known for his Mercurials, so I've given him that. And also any icons that we actually match up against in-game, I'll try to edit their appearance. If there are any icons you think think I should be editing, please let me know down in the comment section, but I'll go through all the icons that we have available here. I've only edited a couple of their in-game appearances, but the overall rating should be more or less correct. But yeah, I'm also going to try to keep the transfers that are included for these icons as realistic as possible. For example, if an icon made a transfer during the I guess 98-99 season, I'm going to try to reflect that for season 2 of this save, and there is ways to do that. So pretty much anything else you think I should include for these icons, let me know down in the comment section, but I think I have all the bases covered. As for the board objectives, I will be paying attention to this, but it won't be that high of a priority for me because we've already changed the career mode quite a bit by adding icons, so the structure won't exactly follow. But obviously youth development will be a critical objective for me. I think we can sign 3 players to the defender position to our youth academy. I'm not sure about signing 4 youth academy players and playing them in the same season for 20 matches. That seems like a bit overkill. Brand exposure, we need to sign 1 crucial first team player to the midfield or forward position. Hopefully we can do that this season. Financially, we're looking to finish with a profit margin of 22.6 million. Domestic success, we need to win the league title and reach the round of 32 of the DFB Pokal. Our transfer budget is in pretty good shape considering we're a 3rd division side, 3.65 million to work with. That doesn't account for any bonuses we get from preseason tournaments or cup performances. As per your recommendations and also my personal preferences, I won't be making any transfers in this summer transfer window because we've already added 2 players with Ballack and Klose. However, I do want to take your recommendations on board and highlight those in future episodes. So if you have any transfer targets for the winter transfer window or even future seasons, let me know down in the comment section below and I might highlight your comment for the next video. Another reason I don't want to make any signings is that our squad is fairly young, only 1 player over 30 years old in Heinold, so we will be transfer listing him, but we'll let the rest of the players fight for a spot in our starting 11 and subs. In order to balance the lack of transfers in this first episode, I will be adding a scout to our youth academy, and I'm also setting a cap at 3-star for this first season. Once we reach the 2nd Bundesliga, I can sign up a scout to up to 4-star, and once we reach the Bundesliga, we can finally sign some 5-star scouts. Also, because this is going to be a longer term career mode, we have to sign up a scouted future star that will hopefully stay with us the entirety of the career mode. And luckily, we were actually able to find a player in a position that, in my opinion, we were lacking. Sem Smits, a center attacking mid from the Netherlands with a good potential of 85 to 94. So hopefully we'll be able to sign him up once he reaches an overall rating of 60 so we can get a better idea about his status. In order to expedite that process, I have added Smits to our player training rotation along with the other youngsters in our squad that I think have a good amount of potential, those being Grill, Bergman, and Pick. I'm going to stick with my decision of not making any transfers in this first episode, but that may go on to cost us as we didn't perform well at all in the preseason tournament. We didn't win a single match, we didn't even secure a single point, only scoring 2 goals, conceding 11. Hopefully our league performance can be a bit better. And speaking of which, let's actually hop into a couple of our matches in the first half of the season. I'll be talking over them and rejoining you all at the halfway point of season 1. After a poor display in the preseason tournament, I was optimistic that we could begin our league campaign on a positive note at home against Unterhaching. These home matches will be played at the Fritz-Walter Stadion because Fritz-Walter is kind of an icon for Kaiserslautern. He captained Germany to their first World Cup in 1954, and he also spent his entire club career at Kaiserslautern, so they named a stadium after him. But getting into the match highlights, I will say that the first half of this opening fixture was a struggle because I had to get used to these lower rated players. I'm used to playing with players in the mid 80s for their overall. Suddenly I'm using players in the mid 60s, so they're not obviously going to be as technically gifted, so we just need to adjust our play style a little bit and we'll figure things out over the course of this season. That's part of the experience of these Road to Glory career modes, just sort of figuring out the tempo and the style of your club. And then once you do, things are off to a great note. But here, as we approach the end of the first half, a great chance with Miroslav Klose. Unfortunately, he will put that shot wide, and we go into the halftime break 0-0. Unterhaching must have received a pep talk at the break because it only took them 10 minutes to break down our defense as Hein fires off this shot on Grill's near post, allowing them to go up 1-0. It wasn't the worst thing, though, because after we conceded that goal, I decided to make the attacking-minded substitution and put Ballack at the center attacking mid position. And my logic for that is that while Ballack has the perfect work rates to play center defensive mid for us in this 3-5-2, when we're down like we are in this sort of position, I want our highest rated players forward looking to equalize. Luckily, it only took a few minutes for Klose to equalize as he does a fake shot to create some space and pulls off his signature front flip celebration. You just love to see it. I associate that celebration with Klose because he scored so many goals and celebrated so many times for Germany in the World Cup. But we actually weren't done yet. As we near the end of the match, Ballack makes a nice run and Klose times the pass perfectly. Unfortunately, the shot does go wide. I'm not sure if that injury sign that Ballack had anything to do with it, but regardless, it's a pretty poor miss if I'm being honest, and it would have been nice to walk away with 3 points. Our next highlighted match is against SV Waldhof Mannheim, which will be the first of many rivalries in this career mode. Kaiserslautern and Mannheim are only separated by about 60 kilometers or so they are very close in proximity. We'll be looking to pick up our first win in a featured match. One thing I learned from our first fixture is to be more direct with our play. Here, I'm playing the ball out wide to Pick. He sends in an inviting cross, and Spalavis is able to nod that one home. He just wanted the ball more than the defender, and ultimately, it'll give us our first goal in this match. But we were hungry for more goals as we look to capitalize off a mistake from the Mannheim defense. Pick takes the ball away, plays it off to Klose, who looked to play the one extra pass. Maybe I should have just gone directly with Klose, especially with these lower rated players. You can't rely on the accuracy of passes too much. But as we near the halftime break, again, some sloppy defending, this time from our end as we nearly concede. Had that not been offside, we would have been in trouble. At this point, I felt like the momentum was slowly shifting away from us as we put in a great tackle there, but we aren't rewarded with possession. The post does bail us out and we're able to stay up 1-0. And this is just a fantastic save from Grill. One thing I can tell you about him is that his reactions are on point. His handling does need a bit of work, but I think with over time and through player training, we'll be all right. Klose does get us our second goal finally as we go on a counterattack, and he just hits that one first time, re-emphasizing the importance of just being direct. At least until we reach the Bundesliga, I want to showcase Pokal matches where we match up against opponents in higher divisions than us. We did manage to beat Chemnitz 3-1 on a simulation, but in the second round, we matched up against none other than FC Bayern München. This will be a great test for us to see how we can play against a Bundesliga opponent. Not only that, but this fixture against Bayern will also be the first time we match up against an icon in this career mode save. Mateus is playing as a center back for them, 36 years old at this current point in time and 88 overall. My tactics for this fixture were fairly straightforward. Get as many players behind the ball as possible, and maybe we can hit Bayern on the counterattack. We need a few individuals to step up though, and Grill does just that 10 minutes into the fixture, making a huge save. And now we've got the ball with Pick on the wing. You know he's deadly from this sort of position, trying to pick out a player in the box, but unfortunately Bayern does clear. It was almost as if Bayern were toying with us as Gnabry waits for us to lunge in from a defending position. Finally, he got the memo and looks to beat us with his dribbling skills, eventually finding Muller back to Gnabry, and the ball seemed glued to these Bayern players' feet. Luckily, it fell to Partey, who was unable to finish, and now Pick with a decent effort, Neuer with a save. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to beat Manu Neuer one-on-one, so I was looking to create the perfect opportunity. Maybe we can pass the ball into an open net and take Neuer out of the equation, but like I've mentioned earlier, it's just tough to find the right pass in the final third with these sort of players. But we do get an opportunity here in the 60th minute. Once again, it's Pick on the wing, seems to be a recurring theme. Klose with the fake shot, and he does finish on the near post. That is by far the biggest goal we've scored in this career mode so far, and being up 1-0 against Bayern in the Pokal was a huge moment. This match was still far from over though, as we had to defend for another 30 minutes. Huge chance for Bayern in the 86th as Vollen's header is shot straight at Grill. He still had to make the save though, and Prairie out of play, and in my honest opinion, Grill was my man of the match because he made that huge save earlier on, and ultimately he was able to keep a clean sheet against a Bundesliga opponent. This may go down as one of the most historic moments in this career mode. Beating Bayern in the Pokal, I don't know if we're going to be able to top it. Maybe when we win the Champions League in a couple of seasons, that will go over, but the game plan worked. We didn't have a lot of possession, but we had a few counterattacking chances, and we made the most of one of them. The difficulty of these Pokal matches are not going to let up, as we have Augsburg in the round of 16, another Bundesliga opponent. Will we see another standout performance from Grill, or are one of our attackers going to net a few goals? That is still to be determined, but here's a look at the rest of the clubs remaining in the Pokal. Maybe one or two of those teams are from the second Bundesliga. We're certainly the only one from the third Bundesliga, and it will be a tough road ahead. I knew we had to play in a similar manner to how we did against Bayern if we wanted to stand a chance in this match. Unfortunately, we were caught napping from the beginning, as Kaiserslautern did very well to take on our defense, and pretty much it was a solo effort from him to put Augsburg up 1-0. But unlike the Bayern match, we were actually able to hang on to a lot of possession, probably having about 60% in our favor at the halfway point, and creating a lot of attacking opportunities, like this one from Klose that was eventually cleared away. But you never know what might happen on set pieces. A goal is what is going to happen this time. Ballack probably scoring his first goal this season, and what a goal it was. You'll see on the replay how good this header was, and it's always great to see our icons score in this career mode save. That's what makes this career mode unique. So whenever I see Klose and Ballack netting goals, it just makes me happy. We look to push on for a second goal now that we had this newfound momentum. And what's new? Pick with the ball on the right side. And I think moving forward, I'm going to start training his crossing, because looking back at these highlights, I'm seeing how many similar opportunities he's had. If he can become a great passer and a great crosser, we're going to score a lot of goals from the right-hand side. Here, Klose playing it through to Stark. That should have been a goal. Not exactly the player I want in front of goal trying to finish a chance, but regardless, I don't care if you're a third division Bundesliga player, you need to finish that chance. Luckily for these Pokal matches, we were able to go into extra time, so we don't need to play a replay or anything like that. I don't think we were mentally prepared for this extra period of play, because we made a lot of mistakes, especially this one from Grill, playing it practically straight to Pele, who's going to finish that chance every single time. There's nothing I can do about that. And if you look at how much power I had on this lob pass, it was over 4 bars. That should in theory be cleared, but you just never know sometimes with goalkeepers. As a result of conceding that goal, we had to pretty much change our tactics, push players forward and play aggressively, and that did not work in our favor, as Finn Bogerson was able to get the third goal for Augsburg, which pretty much sealed the deal for them. We tried to push on, maybe get a second goal. Unfortunately, Klose's shot did hit the post, and Augsburg will be advancing in the Pokal. Still some positives to take away from this competition. We've shown we can play against Bundesliga opponents. We took Augsburg to extra time. We beat Bayern München. I'm feeling very optimistic about the rest of this season in the Bundesliga, or the third Bundesliga, and what future we might have in the second and the main Bundesliga. It's been an interesting first half of the season, to say the least. Despite our manager rating not being great, we are doing pretty well in the league, sitting second with 45 points. Currently on track to be promoted to the second Bundesliga. However, we would not win the third Bundesliga with our current performance, and that is an objective for us by the board. So I'll be looking to push on in the second half of the season. We're still well within reach, only 9 points out from first place. And honestly, if Klose continues to keep scoring goals at the rate he's currently doing, I wouldn't be surprised if we finish first at the end of the season. 12 goals from a total of 22 matches, 10 from his 18 third Bundesliga appearances. Spalvis and Stark both with 6 each. I'd like to see a little bit more contribution from them in the second half of the season. And in terms of assists, it's Stark and Pick who lead the team with 5 each. We've had some players grow exponentially in their overall rating. Grill going up +8 in his rating to a 73. I'm probably going to hold off on player training for him in the second half of the season, considering he's grown enough for me. I don't want him growing in double digits as a 20-year-old goalkeeper. Otherwise, he's going to hit a 99 overall rating, and that just wouldn't be realistic. As well, Bergman up +4 and then +2 for a bunch of players. So our young guys are in good shape. Hopefully that trend can continue. But very importantly, we have 2 youth academy players that are ready to be promoted. They're both over 60 overall for their rating, and they're both over 16 years old. Sam Schmitz is our Scout of Future star. His potential has stayed high at 92 to 94. Hopefully he will have a good weak foot and skill move. I'll be unveiling that in the next episode, as well as Timo Bohm, a 17-year-old right wing, 66 overall, a potential of 75 to 89. His potential isn't as high, but the reason I signed him is that his value is already so good, and honestly, he could fit into our substitutes right away, so I figured let's give him a chance. But this is where I'll be relying on you all in terms of transfer suggestions. I'm open to pretty much anything, whether that be permanent transfers or loan deals from Bundesliga clubs. I think loan deals would be a bit more realistic for us because Kaiserslautern are in financial troubles. They're not really making too many signings, and I think it would be better for us to sign players once we have a bit more of a budget and we start showing, hey, we could be promoted from the league at the end of this season. One thing I will say though is that we don't have a lot of left-footed players in this team, so if you have any left-footed German players or Bundesliga players that you have in mind, please let me know down in the comments section below, and I'd be happy to feature you and your comment in the next episode. But I think that's going to be it for episode 1 of this Kaiserslautern career mode. Hope you all enjoyed it. Again, I've had so much fun making it, and I think this is going to be a great series. We're off to a good start. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.